spills across the floor. Two chairs facing different days. Plates are set like every morning, but something's already missing. I say your name in simple ways. You answer without looking up. Time moves quiet between us, like it learned not to interrupt. We sit close enough to touch, but nothing reaches out. Words stay small and careful, as if louder ones might fall. Breakfast across the table, hands resting, nowhere to go. We share the start of every day, but not the things we used to know. I search your face for something warm. You keep your focus straight ahead. This is how the distance grows when nothing cruel is ever said. The clock repeats its quiet sound. I watch the minutes cool. You finish first and check the time, like there's somewhere else to be. I rehearse another question, then let it fade away. The room feels wider than before, even with you here with me. I notice what you leave behind. You don't seem to notice me. We're both careful not to break what's already barely here. Breakfast across the table, same routine, unfamiliar areas. Show up like we promised to, believe our feelings there. I memorize this quiet space. You treat it like it's fine. This is how mornings lose their shape, one untouched moment at a time. I keep waiting for you to stay, just a second longer than planned. But hope learns how to sit still when it's never in your hands. Breakfast across the table, same light, different ground. We mastered being present without ever being found. No anger waiting in the room, no reason to defend. Just two people sharing mornings who stop meeting in the middle. The hallway feels longer than it should. Each step arrives alone. Doors stay open just enough to show we're both at home. I hear you moving somewhere else. Your presence travels thin. The house remembers how we were before it learned this split. We cross paths without stopping, like time and mist on purpose. Space learns how to stretch itself when no one tries to close it. Distance lives in outside the bedroom door, then choose another way. You linger in the living room until I'm out of sight. The floor creaks with recognition of patterns we repeat. Our home learns how to separate what once moved as a single beat. I stop pretending we're just tired or busy with our days. The distance doesn't follow us, it waits inside this place. Distance lives in hallways, in pauses and delays, in every step that turns aside instead of coming straight. We don't argue, we don't blame, we don't ask what went wrong. This is how a house becomes divided, when silence lasts too I miss when walking toward you didn't feel like crossing ground. Now every step between us measures what we've lost. Distance lives in hallways, in doors we close too soft. We stay polite with empty space and call that holding on. No moment marked as ending, no single night apart. Just a home that learned our absence before it left our hearts. The room glows blue against the wall. Your attention faces forward. We sit aligned with the cushions, not with each other. Your laugh comes late and briefly. Something I didn't hear. I watch the screen reflect on you, like it's the only one here. I lean back to give you space. You don't notice the move. The silence settles comfortably, like it was meant to be used. Evenings, television, talking without sound. We share a couch, share the hours, but nothing travels between us now. Your eyes stay locked on motion, mine drift into thought. This is how we pass our nights, side by side, yet not. quietly along. We stay until the screen goes dark, as if that's where we belong. No argument, no ending, just comfort growing cold. This is how we learn to stay without being close. The ceiling doesn't know my name. It feels higher than it is. Boxes line the walls like witnesses to everything I know. I sit down on the edge of quiet, listen to the building breathe. Every sound feels temporary, like it hasn't chosen me. I place my bag beside the door, just in case I leave. I tell myself this room is safe enough to sleep. First night without home, the air feels thin and wide. Nothing here remembers me, and I both hurts and helps tonight. I lie still and count my breath, let the silence stay. This is how I start again, by getting through the night. The floor is colder than expected. My footsteps echo twice. I turn the light off, then back on, just to feel precise. I realize how much of me was shaped by where I stood. Now every corner feels undecided about what it's meant to hold. I don't unpack the fragile things. I don't rush the dark. Let this moment stay unfinished, like a careful start. First night without home, no routine to follow through. I rest my head on something new, a space that doesn't numb my shade, lets me choose. First night without home, I stay exactly where I am. Not broken, not repaired, just learning how to stand. I close my eyes and trust the dawn to guide me through. This is how rebuilding starts. I resting with the truth. I don't wake up lighter all at once. Nothing shifts overnight. Some days still carry your shadow across ordinary light. I notice how my chest loosens in moments I don't plan, then tightens again without warning, like it's still learning how to stand. I don't rush the quiet changes or force a healed design. I let the feeling come and go on its own time. Forgiving takes time, more than words can give. It's not forgetting what happened, it's choosing how I live. I carry what was heavy, then set it down again. This is how release begins, without pretending it didn't end. I see you differently now, not closer, not unkind, just a person I once loved, in a chapter closed in time. I don't replay every sentence or measure who was right. Some truths don't need defending once the future's in sight. I stop asking for closure from moments that are gone. I learned that peace doesn't arrive, it grows when I move on. Forgiving takes time and patience with myself. I don't label every feeling, I let it sit on the shelf. I'm not trying to absolve you or rewrite what we were. This is how I make space again. for something gentler. There's strength in not holding what no longer holds me, and mercy in allowing the past to be the past. Forgiving takes time, and I finally allow the space between who I was and who I am now. No victory in this moment, just balance restored. This is how I keep my heart open without carrying the weight anymore. I planned the evening carefully, left space for us to breathe. I chose words that wouldn't weigh you down or sound like need. I stayed lighter than I felt inside, smiled when you walked in late. I told myself this still could work if I adjusted my shape. I learned how to soften everything so you wouldn't pull away. I kept my balance carefully so nothing asked you to stay. I tried holding what you had already let go. I reached with steady hands while you drifted further from the road. I kept us standing quietly so nothing had to break. This is how I carry love long after you stopped the wait. I suggested walks we never took, saved moments for the right time. I counted progress in small looks that never crossed the line. I stayed hopeful in reasonable ways so it wouldn't scare you off. I called it patience, called it faith, when it was only lost. I didn't ask you to return what you no longer gave. I told myself endurance was the same thing as brave. I tried holding every silence in between. I filled the gaps with effort, hoping you would lean. I kept the shape of us intact so no one else could tell. This is how I stay committed while slowly losing myself. There's a moment you finally feel you're holding air, not hands, and love stops feeling mutual, but you still don't let it land. I tried holding till my arms learned the truth. You weren't pulling back from me, you were already through. No anger in the letting go, just tiredness exposed. This is when I understood you can't hold still carry your shape, even when you're not near. I smooth the fabric with my hands, as if it still matters how it falls. I move through this small room carefully, like care might still be felt. I fold each piece with quiet attention. You pass by without seeing. Love becomes something practical when it stops being returned. Laundry for two people, done by only one. I take my time with every corner, like this work still connects us. You were the results of my care, without ever asking why. This is how I keep giving long after the reason dries. I place your clothes where they belong. You thank me without stopping. Your voice sounds distant but polite, like kindness without depth. I remember when this felt shared, a simple act we did together. Now it's just another task I finish, so the day can move on. I don't say what this cost me, you don't ask what it means. We both protect the surface of what still looks like peace. Laundry for two people, quiet hands, steady breath. I care for things that touch your skin while you stay emotionally left. I press the weight of every fold into something I won't say. This is how devotion lingers when closeness slips away. I wonder when love turned into maintenance alone, when staying kind felt easier than admitting I felt gone. Laundry for two people, routine dressed as love. I keep showing up in small ways you no longer notice enough. No resentment in my hands, just tiredness learning its place. This is how care becomes invisible when it's never met halfway. The envelope waited on the table, neutral color, careful print. Your name beside mine again, in a way that didn't mean us. We sat across from each other, reading lines without sound. Every sentence felt decided before the words were found. No space left for interpretation, just places marked to sign. Our history reduced to days and measured lines. learns how to end alone. I followed each instruction like it asked for nothing more. Your pen moves steady and exact across the legal form. I noticed how we didn't pause or look for one more chance. We treated this like a process, not a loss that needed grief. I thought my hands might hesitate, they didn't slow at all. Some endings arrive quietly after happening too long. Marriage papers, nothing left to rearrange. No dramatic final sentence, just acceptance, change and shape. We didn't search for meaning or question what was fair. This is how commitment finishes, when feeling isn't there. I expected something heavier, a moment to collapse, but all I felt was clarity in space I hadn't asked. Marriage papers signed with steady hands. No bitterness between us, no future left to plan. I folded up the quiet years and let the ink stay dry. This is how a chapter closes, without a reason why. I passed the street we used to know from the other side of town. I don't slow down, I don't turn, I just let it stay around. The building still stands quietly, like it never learned our names. I picture rooms without stepping in and keep moving just the same. Time has softened every edge that used to pull me in. Distance turns the sharpest places into something thin. Oh, walls from far, they don't speak too loud. They hold our ears politely without calling me now. I can see the shape of what we were without needing to stay. This is how the past quiet settled into us before it learned to stay. Those rooms don't ask me questions, they don't wait for my return. They've accepted different footsteps and everything I learned. I don't rewrite what happened there, I don't defend the end. Some memories just rest in place when they're no longer lived in. Old walls from far still standing on their own. They don't remind me who I was, just where I've grown. I don't feel the urge to knock or trace the doorframe lines. This is how memory behaves when it respects the time. There's relief in seeing clearly without stepping back inside. I can hold the truth gently from the other side. Old walls from far, they don't pull me in. They hold the shape of something real that no longer fits my skin. I carry what they gave me and leave the rest behind. This is how I honor what we were without losing who I am. I stand in front of familiar doors, they open slower than before. Your jacket still leaned to the left, like gravity chose you. I touch the things I learned I shape, then pause like they might answer back. Every hanger holds a memory I didn't expect to feel. I didn't know how heavy ordinary things could be, until I had to choose what still belonged to me. Packing my side of a closet, leaving yours untouched. I fold the years I recognize and leave the list behind us. My hands begin to shake I sort my life in careful piles, keep what still feels like mine. Some things carry your silence, others carry time. I find her sure I almost lost behind what used to wear. I wonder when my presence stopped being everywhere. I don't ask what you're thinking, you don't step inside. We respect the lines we drew, side of the closet, each choice learned in its place. I leave the version of myself that waited for your face. I move slowly through this moment like it might bruise. This is how goodbye begins. I realize how little of me I needed to explain when I stopped expecting you to notice what my name's. Packing my side of the closet, the air feels wide and still. I take what fits my couldn't do. The room stays neutral and still, nothing waiting to collapse. Your chair faces mine politely, like we practiced how to act. The paper rests between our hands, unemotional and plain. It doesn't ask us what we lost, only where to place our names. We don't circle the moment, we don't stall for time. Some endings finish quietly when they've already arrived. Sign without anger, no shaking in your hand. We move through every sentence like we understand. No history rewritten, no future left to save. This is how something meaningful ends gently but stays brave. I notice how your voice stays even as you ask if I'm alright. I answer simply, honestly, not looking for a sign. There's kindness in how careful we are not to reopen the past. We treat this like a closing door that no longer needs a push. I thought I'd feel resistance or something Nothing fights the fact. Sign without anger, no bitterness to defend. We don't search for fault or reason, we just let it end. The silence doesn't threaten, it doesn't feel unfair. This is how love changes form when it's handled with care. Break. Some simply stop asking more, and dignity becomes the last thing we give to what we were. Sign without anger, no tears left to hide, just two people choosing calm over one more try. I stand up feeling lighter, not empty, not relieved. This is how closure settles in when it's quietly agreed. I sit down with what I made. The room feels overly aware. A single chair, steady light, nothing waiting anywhere. I take a bite without thinking, just to keep the evening moving. The act feels purely functional, like something done for proof. I notice how the silence stays even when I chew. No conversation left to pause, no one asking me to. Tasteless dinner on a surface still too bare. I eat because the day expects it, not because I care. Every flavor feels distant, like it forgot my name. This is how the body carries on when feeling doesn't stay. I don't reach for extra seasoning, I don't slow the pace. I let the minutes pass through me without trying to replace. There was a time meals men arriving, now they mark the hours gone. I clear the space methodically so the night can carry on. I don't miss you in this moment, I miss the shared weight of knowing someone else was there watching the plate. Tasteless dinner, nothing wrong, nothing right, just nourishment and quiet settling in for the night. I don't label this as lonely, I don't dress it as relief. This is how I stay practical while learning how to grieve. There's comfort in the ordinary when emotion steps aside. I let the moment stay unseasoned and honest. Tasteless dinner, finished without regret. I wash the plate and dry my hands like nothing's happened yet. I leave the light on just a while, let the quiet remain. This This is how the day concludes without asking for my name. We woke under the same ceiling, but planned our days apart. You moved through your quiet mornings, I moved through mine. We learned each other's schedules without asking why, like parallel lines that knew they wouldn't cross again. No moment marked the shift, no night explained the change. We simply stopped arriving at the same place. We lived in separate rooms long before we left. Shared walls, shared routines, but nothing we felt. No anger in the distance, no reason to pretend. This is how love fades gently when no one meets you in the end. We spoke in careful updates about practical things, bills, plans, tomorrow's needs, everything but us. I stopped waiting for the feeling, you stopped searching too. Not because we didn't try, but because we already knew. Some truths don't arrive loudly, they settle and stay like silence that becomes familiar and asks nothing to change. We lived in separate rooms, even standing side by side. Our lives moved forward politely, with nothing left to hide. No betrayal in the ending, no damage to defend. This is how two people part when effort finally ends. I don't regret the years we shared, I wish them rearranged. They taught me how to recognize when staying isn't the same. We lived in separate rooms until we chose to leave, not out of bitterness or loss, just honesty. I walk forward unburdened, you do the same somewhere. This is how acceptance sounds when it's handled with care. You sat down slower than before, like you chose to wait. Your voice stayed even, almost calm, as if rehearsed too late. You didn't look for words to let them fall instead. I watched the space around us fill with everything unsaid. I knew this moment long ago, before you found the sound. Some truths don't arrive suddenly, they wait to be allowed. You said felt empty, like it was something new. But I've been standing in that space long before it reached you. No anger in the sentence, no reason to defend. This is how the ending sounds, when honesty begins. You spoke about the missing part, without a single tear. You named it like a distance that quietly appeared. I nodded like I wasn't hurt, like this made sense to hear, as if my heart hadn't already been living in that year. I didn't ask you to explain or trace where it went wrong. Some answers don't bring comfort, they just confirm how long. You said felt empty, and something settled down. Not relief, not devastation, just truth without a sound. I stopped holding my breath for words you wouldn't send. This is how hope steps aside, when clarity walks in. Just tired of pretending that what I felt for years wasn't already ending. You said felt empty, and I finally agreed. Not out loud, not in anger, just quietly in me. No fight left to perform, no story left to bend. This is how love loosens gently, when truth no longer defends. You wake up already already somewhere else. Your eyes check things I can't see. I sit beside you fully here, wondering if you'll notice me. I mentioned the weight in my chest. You're not like you heard the sound. Your hands keep moving through the day. Mine rest quietly on the ground. There was a time you used to pause before the world came in. Now every answer feels rehearsed before I even begin. You stopped asking how it was, like the answer didn't matter. Days keep passing in a line while I grow quietly thinner. I hold space for both of us. You fill yours with anything else. This is how I disappear while still being myself. You talk about your endless hours. Your voice stays even and calm. I listen like it's my role now to carry what you can't hold on. I choose my words carefully so they won't slow you down. I learn which feelings fit the room and which ones I should leave out. I stopped expecting you to hear the parts I never say. It's easier to stay composed than ask you to stay. You stopped asking how I was, somewhere between then and now. I keep waiting for concern that never circles back around. I show up steady every day. You don't notice the cost. This is how love turns quiet when only one voice is lost. I don't need fixing or advice, just a moment where you stay. But your attention has learned how to look the other way. You stopped asking how I was, and I stopped offering the truth. We share the shape of daily life, but not the weight it moves through. I stand right here in front of you, still hoping you'll see. This is how I fade gently without ever leaving. Lights are off, but I stay awake, listening to your breath. You turn without a reason and settle facing the wall. I rest my hand beside your back, then pull it in again. Even touch feels like a question. I already know the end. I used to feel like shelter, sleep close in distance, but not in truth.